Hello friends, my name is Ankur Tyagi and I am having 7 years of teaching experience in physics for IIT JEE and NEET. So I have mentored thousands of students for IIT JEE and NEET, and many of them got selected in best medical colleges, government colleges and IITs and ITs college. So today I will start friction topic. So basically, what is friction? So friction is the force which opposes the relative motion between the two surfaces. Okay. So it is the force which opposes the relative motion between the two bodies. Let suppose there is a block of mass m, and this is surface. Now, if we applying a force on this block, so friction acts between the surface and block in backward direction. It always opposes the relative motion. One more definition is there. It is the opposing force between the surface of contact when one body slides or tends to do on the surface of another body. Okay. Now, causes of friction. So, what is the causes of friction? Suppose there is a block of mass m and this is our surface. Now, if we zoom out this contact surface, so it will look like that. This is upper surface, that is block surface, and this is our earth surface. Now these are the contact point, and if we draw the normal at these points, so it will be like that. Now if we resolve the components of the normal, horizontal components and vertical components, so this all vertical components will add up and they will balance the weight of the body. And this all horizontal components cumulatively known as the friction. Vertical components will balance the weight of the body and horizontal components cumulatively called as friction force. So this occurs due to irregularities and roughness on surfaces in contact. Some interlocks are developed and between these two surfaces. So these interlocks only opposes the tendency of relative motion. Okay. Next topic is types of friction. So basically two types of friction. First one is static friction and second one is kinetic friction. What is static friction? When two bodies have tendency to move over each other, not moving. There is a tendency to move but not moving with respect to each other. Then their relative motion is opposed by the surfaces. Not moving, but there is a tendency of motion. Direction is opposite to the tendency of motion, means direction is opposite to the tendency of motion. Static friction. It is also called self-adjusting in nature. Self-adjusting in nature, it means what? Suppose there is a block and if we applying a force on the block and force required to move the block is suppose 10 Newton. Now, if friction force is our 8 Newton, so what will happen? This block will move. If friction force is equals to the 10, so in this case, both external force and friction force are equal. So in this case there is a tendency of motion, but it will not move. If friction force is more than 10, then what will happen? Suppose 12. So it does not mean a block will move in backward direction. It means this 12 Newton force will adjust into 10. So our friction answer will be 10, not 12. Okay, this means it is self-adjustable force. Next point, maximum value of static friction is called limiting friction. It means what? Let's suppose one example, there is a block of 5 kg and a force applying on this block. Here friction coefficient is, let's suppose, mu is 0.3. Okay, now first we will find the limiting friction value. So F limiting equals to mu n. So here mu is 0.3, n is mg. So 0.3 into m, 5 into 10. So this point and 0 gets cancelled. So it will be 15 answer. So maximum value of static friction is 15. It means if we applying a force on this block 10 Newton, so it will not move and friction will be static friction. If we applying, let's suppose 14.99, so this is the last force up to which block will be at rest. This is limiting friction value, maximum value of static friction. If you increase the value of force now, so block will move. This is the meaning of limiting friction. Clear? Maximum value of static friction. Its formula is F limiting equals to mu s into n. Here mu s is what? Coefficient of static friction, and n is the normal reaction. Which is equals to mg. Clear? This is our limiting friction formula. We can find the limiting friction value. Second one is kinetic friction. Kinetic friction is what? When two contact surfaces slide over each other, then friction acting along between them, that is called dynamic or kinetic friction. It means kinetic friction acts when two surfaces, or between two surfaces there is a relative motion. So kinetic friction will act in the opposite direction, and kinetic friction is less than static friction, and it is also constant friction. Static friction is a variable friction. Formula for kinetic friction is Fk equals to mu k into n. Here mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction and n is the normal reaction. Clear? Some important points. It always opposes the relative motion of a surface over other. Its value does not depend on motion types, means either motion accelerated or non-accelerated. Kinetic friction value always remains constant. Okay. Next one is it has constant value. Okay. Kinetic friction is slightly less than the limiting friction. Kinetic friction is less than the limiting friction. Okay. It depends on normal reaction. Means kinetic friction directly proportional to the normal. Now let's discuss the graph of limiting friction and applied force. So in starting, if we say In starting, applied force and limiting friction both are directly proportional up to a value, to a maximum value, maximum static friction. That point is our limiting friction. After that, body will start moves and suddenly friction value decrease, and after that constant. See, it is constant, and it is kinetic friction. This is static friction, okay, and this is limiting friction. So this is the graph of limiting friction and applied force. Now some important points I will discuss with you, which will be very helpful to solve the numericals. First point is, if F applied is 0, then static friction is 0. Means if there is no force on the block, then there will be no friction. Clear? Second point is, if applied force is less than limiting friction, then the body remains at rest. Okay. If applied force is equals to the limiting friction, that also remains at rest, but there will be a tendency to move. But if F applied is greater than limiting friction, then body will start moving and kinetic friction will act in this case. Clear? And these 4 points will be very helpful when you solve the numericals. Let's solve some numericals. Question number 1. There is a 5 kg block and a force applying on it 10 Newton. Here mu s is 0.2 and mu k is 0.5. Find the force of friction and acceleration of the block. Very simple question. First we will draw the free body diagram. So free body diagram means any body which we have to draw the free body diagram. Let's suppose that is a point object and draw all the forces which acts on the block. So on this block there is a downward force, that is mg, and upward side normal force, in this side 10 Newton external force, and in opposite side there is a friction. So we have to find the friction force. So first we will find the limiting friction, then we will analyze block will move or not move or what. So F limiting, what is F limiting? Mu s into n. What is mu s? 0.2 into n, 5 into 10. So it is 0 and this point will get cancelled. So final answer is 10 Newton. So limiting friction is 10 and our applied force is also 10. So it means we can say F limiting equals to F applied. So in this case what? Body will move or at rest? Body will remain at rest. Body will remain at rest. But there is a tendency to move. Clear? Okay. Let's discuss next question. There is a block and suppose on this block a force acting at some angle. I will draw. Let force acting at some angle let this angle is 45. Clear? And this force, let's suppose 10 root 2. Now question is find the friction force, acceleration of the block, and also find the normal reaction. So how to solve this type of questions? First you have to resolve the force components in horizontal and vertical. So this component will be 10 root 2 cos 45. So 10 root 2 1 by root 2. So it will be 10. Similarly, this vertical component 10 root 2 sin 45. So 10 root 2 into 1 by root 2. So it is also 10. Now, if we draw the free body diagram, free body diagram. in upward direction. Now there are two forces. First one is normal and second one is component of the force, which is 10, and in this direction it is at 10 Newton, downward direction mg, and in backward direction friction. This is our free body diagram. Now first we have to find the normal reaction. So n plus 10 equals to mg. N plus 10 equals to mass is 4, g value consider 10. So n plus 10 equals to 40. So here n equals to 40 minus 10. So it will be 30. So our normal reaction is 30. Second one, we will find the friction force. First we will find the F limiting. Mu n. Mu value is what? Mu is 0.3. So 0.3 into n, 30. So this point 0 gets cancelled. So it is 9 Newton. So limiting friction value is 9 Newton and applied force is 10 Newton. So means it will move. So now we have to find the acceleration. And if body will move, the kinetic friction acts between the surfaces. So we can find the acceleration. One acceleration formula I will tell you: the supporting force minus opposing force divided by total mass. So here supporting force is what? 10 Newton. So 10 Newton minus opposing force 9 and total mass 4. So it will be 10 minus 9, 1 by 4. So if we solve, so it will be 0.25 meter per second square. This is the final answer. So like that we can solve the problems. Next problem is there. A body of mass 0.1 kg pressed against a wall with horizontal force is 5 Newton. So first we will draw the force, 5 Newton. Okay. Coefficient of friction is 0.5. Coefficient of 0.5. Now find force of friction. We have to find the force of friction. Here normal will act. Normal always acts perpendicular to the surface. Clear? Friction will act in backward direction mg. So first we will draw the free body diagram. In there friction downward mg, and in this direction normal, and in this direction 5 Newton force. So here directly we can say normal equals to 5 Newton, and this is also external force. Okay, now we have to find the friction value. Friction is mu into n. So mu n. Mu value is 0.5. N is 5. So it is 2.5. Clear? 2.5. So here we can say this F limiting is greater than mg. So friction, we know that friction, static friction is a self-adjusting force, so it will adjust into a mg force. So finally we can say friction answer is 1. Clear? Finally friction answer is 1 Newton. Let's discuss one more problem. There is a block 5 kg and a force acting on it 50 Newton. Mu s value and mu k value are given. Mu s value is 0.4. Mu k value is 0.2. Question is find friction force and acceleration of the block. Find friction force and acceleration of block. So first you solve, then I will solve. Firstly, we will find the limiting friction value. So F limiting is what? Mu s into n. Clear? So what is mu n? 0.4. N is mg, which is 5 into 10. So this point and a 0 gets cancelled. So 4 5 is 20. So the maximum value of static friction is 20 Newton. It means applied force is greater than limiting friction. So we can say F limiting is less than F applied. So in this condition we can say block will move. Now if block will move, then there will be a kinetic friction acts between the surfaces. So kinetic friction, if acts kinetic, then we have to find the kinetic friction value first. So kinetic friction is mu k into n. Mu k value is given 0.2 and 5 into 10. So 0, 0, so 2, 5, 10. So kinetic friction acting, that is 10 Newton. Okay, and it is constant. See, kinetic friction is less than the static friction. Now we can find the acceleration. So acceleration formula is what? Supporting force minus opposing force divided by total mass. Clear? So what is supporting force? 50 Newton. And opposing force, that is friction force, 10 Newton. And total mass is 5 kg. So 50 minus 10, 40 by 5. So it will be 8 meter per second square. This is the final answer. Clear? So like that you can solve. First you have to find the limiting friction value. Then you have to realize or conclude that K body will move or remains at rest, which friction acting, static friction, kinetic friction. Then according to that you have to solve. Clear? Okay. Now in next class I will discuss angle of friction, angle of repose and more problems, and one last topic, block or block problems, two block problems. Okay. So thank you.